Good morning, afternoon, evening or night, whenever you're watching this, welcome. In this video I'm in a new location hunting for old things, and I stumble across the biggest bottle dump I've ever found. The first find today is, well, probably not all that old, but I'll give it a rinse. I quite like the shape. If it appeals to me clean, I might take it. Yes, I think so. Something plastic looking. Oh, it's ceramic. A tiny ceramic doll's arm. My collection of Victorian doll pieces is growing. It would be a truly weird and disquieting monstrosity if I were to put them all together in an art piece. Do let me know if that's something you'd like to see one day. I think this might be part of an old bell, or the casing of an old light switch. A copper alloy, probably brass by the looks of it. Something poking out of the mud. It's firmly in there. And it's not coming out to play, not today. Wow, that's a very thick chunk of pottery. Weird shape. It's thin and kind of looks like a proper edge, so perhaps it's part of an old plant dish to go into a plant pot. No other ideas. Something interesting peeking out at me. It's colourful, I don't know if it's old, but... It's Maggie! That's my find of the day so far. It might take some topping. There's a bottle here. No great age, curvy shape. I'll take it and, I don't know, maybe put some LED lights in it for a mini lamp or something. Part of an antique electrical thing, perhaps a switch of some sort. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. A green stone. Very green indeed. I wonder if the green is mineral or paint. Hopefully nothing toxic. Perhaps I should be wearing gloves. A chunk of old iron. Quite a pleasing quarter of a circle. I wonder what it came from. Probably a wheel in some machinery. These look like bolt holes. And this lump on the back might have been part of what it was attached to. I quite like this. I can't think of a use for it, but I might take it anyway. Something intriguing poking out of the mud. Let's see if I can get it out. It's coming. And okay, that's a little disappointing. Just an old plug. Still attached to the wire, and a reasonable amount of wire at that, some copper in there. And I've got a few craft projects that use copper wire, female models and alike. A piece of an old tea caddy perhaps, and another which, yes, they fit together, from the bottom of what would have been a nice container. Looks like a cookie cutter, but it's not, it's too domed. Another piece of probably brass. A cliché certainly, but the old Yorkshire saying is proving especially true today. Where there's muck, there's brass. I guess this could be the corner piece from a bed frame, or if this big hole here was where a smaller hole was located, perhaps the end piece of a brass railing. This is an interesting handle, probably 19th or 20th century. The break points and the angle of them suggest it may have been a handle for a large bowl, maybe a serving bowl for vegetables. I don't really know. That's a pheasant, and I think I scared it away. I'm on a tiny beach about 2 foot wide, and just across the river there appears to be the biggest bottle dump I've ever seen. Wow. Just wow. It really is huge, probably 10 metres high and 50 to 60 wide. I am of course wearing completely the wrong footwear to wade across, but I'm gonna have to try and check it out. It's gonna be a long walk around. I think I'm currently standing on top of a landfill. I somehow missed that big beach down there. I tried to walk through those trees behind it, but it was full of brambles, so I gave up. And that over there is where I'm heading. Quite a precipitous drop off, and lots of bottles sticking out from the cliff face. Tantalising, but not worth risking life and limb for. This really is a huge site. Getting down is going to be tough. I've made it down. It's even more impressive from down here, and it also looks somewhat precarious. I won't dig because I don't have the permission, so it's eyes only, whatever's lying directly on the surface and nothing else. However, that is plenty. Let's begin. A nice squarish bottle. Sorry, my backpack is falling off. So it says something Vapocresylene Co. I'll give it a rinse. A nice bottle, and I'm going to take it home. Some iridescence on this, so I think my stained glass artist friend might like it. And a nice little bottle full of muck and water. A nice milk glass pot, which my iPad is struggling to focus on. Another little bottle. an old medicine bottle with measurements on the side. Quite a nice old paste jar. And another. Both have this iridescence. And I can just see, yes, it's an old Pond's jar. Oh wow, that's a nice surprise. My first prism-shaped bottle. And this might actually topple Maggie as my favourite find of the day. And another medicine bottle, very full of water. Unusual shape, and has the top been broken off? It looks like that's the original full top. A little sauce bottle. And another small thin bottle. And another. Although this one looks quite cracked, I think I'll leave it. The first marble of the day, not hugely old, but still, a marble that's been buried for several decades and now found again. That's an interesting shape, and it's got words on it. Quite scratched up, but I can make out Halifax around the bottom, and Ramsden and Sons? Is this a beer bottle? I think it's the right shape, but I'm a beginner at bottle identification. Looks like the first bottle stopper of the day, and it's still got the old cork ring on it. The second bottle stopper, and it's also got the old ring, this time rubber, quite perished. And this is a nice colour for an old bottle, still with its original cork in it. I can't remember if this is one I've already filmed, there's just so many things lying around. Far too many things for me to carry home today. Another thin little bottle. Can anyone tell me what these were used for? Were they usually medicine bottles? If so, this place was full of ill people. Standing on a precarious slope and trying to film and hold things and pull out this iridescent and interesting looking bottle. Oh, that's a shame. This place is probably eroding quickly and dramatically. This looks interesting. It's an old glass battery. Better for it to be going home with me than leaking into the river, though it's hard to tell if what's in it is original or river water. I spotted something and I've lost it. Ah yes, here we go. Looks like a tile, quite an abstract glaze on it, no pattern. Possibly from a Victorian fire surround, it looks about the right size for that. A toy horse, sadly missing one whole leg and all of its feet. Probably broken before coming here, it is a dump after all. I think it's cast iron. Looks interesting. A tiny pot, probably a toy from an old doll's tea set maybe. Probably too large for the average doll's house. That's interesting, I think it's the side of a bowl. And it has a maker's mark on the inside, a J and an S inside a shield. A strangely neat layer of sand, home to some sand martins. And an endless wonderful mess of vintage and antique glass and pottery. Some actual pieces of newspaper somehow surviving. I can't find a date on any of these. But I can find an old bottle stopper, a wide one this time. And just over here, another, more regular sized one. And I've spotted an old Shipham's paste jar, which of course my iPad will struggle to focus on. A new camera is definitely needed. So many layers. A nice bottle with some writing on that I can't quite make out. The light is starting to go. And a ceramic bottle stopper. Another horse, much larger and possibly lead this time. It has a piece of pottery stabbing cruelly into its side. Time for a roundup, and this river adventure did not disappoint. The first bit was a little disappointing. I mean, I'd searched on Google Earth for beaches that looked similar to ones that had given up some good little treasures, and the ones I got to this time, well, the finds were mostly modern litter, and the older things of interest were few and far between. I don't know quite why I brought this piece of pottery home. I don't think it's very old and it holds little beauty for me, but I guess I do like the mystery of its varying thicknesses and trying to figure out what it was once a part of. Please do make suggestions if you have any ideas. This is my star find of the early beaches. I know it's not old, but I did once upon a time love to watch The Simpsons, and Maggie was always a wonderful part of that, a baby with attitude. This arm was a nice find too. In an unfilmed outing last year, I found a doll head in the same scale, so I'm just one more arm, a fabric body, and 2 legs away from a recreated Victorian doll. This piece of lead, I have no idea where this came from, probably roofing. I picked it up because it's a pollutant in the river system and it can be easily recycled. This piece of brass is the most mysterious find from the first part of the outing. I can't imagine why a domed piece of metal would have a wavy corrugation along this edge. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And now, the bottle dump finds. I think that location might well become a gift that keeps on giving in terms of vintage, but not quite antique bottle finds. As far as I can find out, it was a dump site, started sometime in the early 1930s and used up until the 60s. It's council owned, so I'll never be able to get permission to dig there, although there are clear signs that bottle diggers have dug into it at the edges, perhaps speeding up what is worryingly fast erosion. That might soon leave a football pitch that sits directly on top of it unstable and unsafe. It's fine that I'll never be allowed to dig there. The river's doing all the work for me. Maps show that it's moved about 40 metres or so in the direction of and ultimately cutting into that dump in the last 50 years. So I should be able to find quite a lot of bottles in the river downstream, and when new bits fall off the cliff face, some new old bottles will be revealed. Without further ado, first of all there's this jagged piece of something. I'm not quite sure what it was, perhaps a bowl, but also perhaps a wall hanging, which the manufacturing company Terracotta Majolika und Faiensfabrik did often make in Turnblitz, Austria. My pronunciations were probably horrible, and I hope I didn't offend anyone. Sorry if I did. This ceramic bottle stopper is probably from a milk bottle. I figure that's the most likely thing for the Bradford Model Milk Company Limited to have topped with their name, though most of the vintage milk bottles I'm used to have much wider tops, so I may well be wrong. 2 of these stoppers are in the best condition I've seen. I usually only find them after they've been smashed around in the river for a while, and this one in particular looks pretty much brand new. The host sauce one is a little damaged. I didn't expect to find another one of these quite so quickly after my last outing, but I guess if it was a popular condiment, I stand a good chance of finding many more. Out of all the paste jars I found, this one is my favourite. The rest have patches of iridescence, but this one has it pretty much all over. The iridescence is caused by them lying in wet ground and alkali silicates leaching out of the glass in a process I haven't finished learning about. It's an interesting process, and I don't view it as a problem, but it does leave quite a few of the bottles looking a bit unsightly, no matter how much I scrub them. Moving on, I found a porcelain drawer handle, a vulcanised rubber bottle stop for a Bulmer's cider, and one for E. Ackroyd Limited of Keighley, which goes nicely with this rather scrappy looking beer bottle from the same company. This bottle here is also a beer bottle, this one from T. Ramsden and Son Limited of Halifax. This is the first intact glass battery casing I found. There were two much larger ones very near to where I found this one, but sadly they were broken. I guess this urn-like jar was for a cosmetic cream, probably a bit like Pond's cream, but more expensive. It has a bit of a rust stain on one side, which I've been trying to remove. If anyone knows a way of cleaning away such stains, then please say. I do think this might be a fire surround tile, and cleaned up it looks every bit as dark and oppressive as a cliched belief of what Victorian decor was like. I still like it though. This small bottle claims to have contained Hullsite disinfectant. Now Hullsite is a crystalline rock usually found above the Arctic Circle, and it contains borates, so it might possess properties a little bit like borax. Borax is usually sodium borate or disodium tetraborate, so maybe Hullsite was intended as a challenger to borax, which has been in use since at least the 8th century. I can't seem to find any information on Hullsite being used as a disinfectant, and I can't find which company produced or marketed this, so maybe that means it's a rarity. I don't know. This Vapo Cresseline bottle is in excellent condition. It would once have contained kerosene specifically for use in medicinal vaporizers. Nowadays most people would probably choose to use tea lights. This bottle for sure is a keeper. It's my favourite find of the day. It's got bubbles in the glass and a slightly wonky neck and an iridescent sheen, and although I would like to know what it once contained, I'm probably going to keep on liking it regardless. I do like finding old toys, so to find two old horses was a very nice surprise. I'm still amazed by how clean the paint on this one is. If it weren't quite so broken, it would look nearly new. About the time I found this horse, the light was fading fast. My iPad's camera could do no more, so I put it away, and then I found this, which I think might be a piece of whalebone. I might be wrong, but to me this looks the wrong shape for a cow rib and a little too wide for a horse, plus a neat cutting at each end leads me to think that it could be an offcut from the making of a corset. I would of course be happy to hear any alternative opinion. I don't know what this thing is. I didn't catch it on film either. It seems to be a copper cylinder with a core of lead, perhaps part of an old battery. If so, a very inefficient design. Does anyone have a better idea? I'm really not sure what to do with some of these bottles. I don't think I actually want to start a big bottle collection. I already live with more clutter than I really want to live with. Which I guess means that going back the next day and filling 3 big bags with bottles and bringing them all home was pretty close to insanity. But without doing that, I couldn't in all conscience call this a monster bottle dump haul. Here's most of that next day's haul, and there's a few more bottles outside still waiting to be cleaned. I didn't film that trip, it was very drizzly and the camera didn't like it. I think I will be going back to that site again soon. I'd like to explore the river downstream a bit and hopefully find lots of interesting things. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, please hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and for now, goodbye.